Welcome, everyone. My name is Blake, and I will be your moderator. I'm excited to welcome Dr. Grobmyer for his take on PPO participation and what it can mean for your dental practice profitability. Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to go over some housekeeping. If you have a question, please type it in the box labeled "Have a Question" on the right side of your screen. Schein is not offering CE credit for viewing or attending this presentation, live or on demand. Welcome, and thank you for being with us tonight. I will pass it over to you now.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Henry Schein's Dental Academy webinar series. I'm Dr. Greg Grobmyer. I'll be your host for tonight. Our topic for the evening is going to be PPO participation and practice profitability. That's a great tongue twister for me to say. I do want to start by introducing our sponsor, eAssist. If you guys don't know about eAssist, you really should look into them. They're a great company for outsourcing a lot of the stuff that your admin team does in office. So in these days of staff shortages and trying to get people trained, trying to make sure that people are doing things the right way, you're not up there just micromanaging everything that's going on in your office. You don't know whether your insurance person is doing a great job or not. All you see are the after effects. Everything after it's been done, you can go back and find out if they've done okay or not. But you don't know how efficient they are or what they're going to do. eAssist is a bunch of people who do dental billing and aging and other services all day long. They're specialists in this particular area. So it's great to be able to outsource those particular services to someone else, to allow your team to have the opportunity to focus on their core competencies within the office, the things that need to be done face-to-face, the patient rapport building and the things that need to take place within the office itself. So eAssist has been around for about a decade. They've been putting money back in the pocket of the nation's dentists for about 10 years. They've been reducing stress of the teams and creating more reliable cash flow. The team of dental billing specialists has served thousands of dental offices and DSOs. To date, they've collected more than $9.34 billion from insurance company. That's an insane number to me. That's just awesome. So here are a lot of the amazing awards and recognitions that eAssist has received over the years. It's all very impressive, but again, the number that impresses me the most is that one in the right column on there, $9.34 billion that they've managed to get back from dental insurance companies and into the pockets of dentists. So here are some of the services that eAssist offers. If you've known them for a while, you've probably known them as a dental billing company and account aging company. But that's where they started, but that's not all they do now. They do a lot of different things. So they're very, very good at doing account aging and filing your insurance claims for you. They do the claims within a day. They post new checks that come in to the ledgers within a day. They also work your accounts aging down to where you should have nothing that's over 90 days. They try to get it to zero and keep it there. So those are some of the promises that they make to you. But they also do some other things, credentialing. If you are opening a new office, or you're a new dentist that's just coming in, or you're bringing in an associate, anytime that credentialing services are necessary, and that includes when you're signing up for new insurance, new PPOs, you're wanting to make sure that your credentialing information is to those providers the way they need to be, get your NPI numbers correct and all that. They help get your credentialing done. Make sure that you are, when you're sending in claims, you are putting the proper provider on the number or on the box in the 2019 dental claim form of the provider that actually saw the patient. Don't get into this business now. I know I'm giving you a lecture right in the middle of a slide, but don't get into this business of putting someone else's NPI number on other than the dentist that was treating, just because that the first dentist was in network and this one's out of network. or you're even waiting on credentialing. Don't lie. That can really get you into some troubles. Okay. So get the credentialing done, get it done as early as possible, even prior to an associate joining your practice, and do it the right way. eAssist can help walk you through those steps. You can do it on your own, but it's so nice to be able to hand it off to someone who's done it a million times and they know what they're doing. Next, insurance verification and eligibility. This is a huge time suck in the office. If you've got somebody up front that's literally spending hours on the phone trying to verify benefits and eligibility, going down this whole big list of questions. I know there's things through patient portals now on insurance company websites, and there's fax back and things like that, but they never answer all the questions that you want to ask. So there's someone on the phone almost constantly within your dental office. There's so many other things they could be doing. You're paying that person to just sit there and listen to hold music, and there's better things that you could be doing with their time. So insurance verification and eligibility is a great help for the people within your practice. Next thing, and it may be something that surprises you that they do, it's accounting, bookkeeping, and payroll. They know probably better than your local accountant how to work with dental offices, because dental offices is what they do. So they can really help probably more than your local bookkeeper to do these types of services. Next is dental billing statements and doing collection calls. Collection calls are never fun. That's not a job that anybody in your office really wants to do. And there's really good and bad ways to do that. Your verbal skills have to be excellent to be able to make collection calls and have them work without creating rips or upsets with patients. So why not, again, offsource that to somebody that really knows how to do it and does it all day long? So eAssist can offer help with that. Lastly, their full schedule offering. That program is for patient recall and patient retention. They're going through they're doing your chart audits for you, looking back and finding patients that need to be reactivated, that need to get back into your practice. And they're only getting paid on the patients that actually come in and become a butt in a seat. And when that happens, then eAssist gets paid. So that's a great way to increase the patient flow through your practice using the existing practice clientele that you already have. So wonderful services. Check out eAssist, and that concludes that portion of our presentation. Now, this is a little bit about me. I work for a company called Practice Booster. That's Dr. Charles Blair. You probably know him from our Coding with Confidence manual. It's an annual book that's put out every year with all the dental codes, how to use them, what to do, what not to do, narratives, tips, tricks, tools, explanations, lots of great information. It's a 500 and some odd page book, and I'm the editor of that now. And so I've been working with him for some time. I also am the chief editor of the Insurance Solutions newsletter from Practice Booster. I work on some of the other books, the administration book, technology book, documentation book that we have. And I'm also the co-host of the Dental Code Advisor podcast with Dr. Charles Blair. So I'd love for you to look that up. It's on Apple Podcasts and pretty much any of the other podcast sites that might be out there. You can find and listen to us chatting all day long about different aspects of dental insurance. They're only about 20 minutes long. They're easy bite-sized pieces. So come check that out. So what we're doing today, excuse me. So what we're doing today, these are our objectives: the good, the bad, and the ugly of PPO network participation. PPO network participation can be a great thing. It can be a negative thing, and it's very much reliant upon your situation. It can be something that's bringing in a ton of patients, but it may also be costing you if you are seeing those PPO patients in place of fee-for-service patients. So there's a time and a place for PPO participation, and we're wanting to kind of work with you on deciding which plans you need to stay in network with and which ones you need to get out of. So we'll talk a little bit about that and about negotiation and about several other things as we go through. Busting the myth that insurance participation equals lost income. Again, it's very appropriate for some practices to participate in plans. I mean, it may just be a handful of plans, it may be quite a few. Different practices have different needs, and they're in different places in the life cycle of the practice. We're going to work with you again on what is going to be best for your particular practice. Ask you some questions that you need to ask yourself. So, thirdly, what steps can you take that won't sacrifice patient care, employee retention, or cash flow? So let's go through some of that. The first thing we're going to discuss is some numbers about enrollment. How many people in the United States actually have dental insurance benefits of some sort? And the most recent numbers, this is the 2020 numbers from NADP, that's the National Association of Dental Plans. They do all the statistics, they track all this stuff for dental plans. They're the experts in this. They say 80% of the US population has dental benefits of some sort. Now, that could be private pay, that could be government funded. So 25% of the population has Medicare or Medicaid. All right. So that leaves 55% that have private or commercial insurance. So 55% of the population in the United States has dental benefits that are private or commercial. Now, of those private and commercial insurances, there are many different kinds. You've got PPOs, you've got EPOs, you've got DHMOs and HMOs, you've got all different types. But by far, PPOs have taken over the lion's share of insurance, private insurance in the United States, or commercial insurance. So again, only 20% have no coverage at all. 80% do have coverage. But 86% of those with commercial insurance have a PPO. So PPOs by and large are the majority type of insurance that you're going to see in your practice if someone has insurance. So, and this is up 12% since 2010. It was 74% in 2010. It's now, as of 2020, 86%. So it's growing. It's still getting bigger. So does this mean that you have to participate with insurance just because 86% of the population has PPOs, and that's over half your patients that are going to have dental insurance of a private or commercial sense? You may not take Medicare, Medicaid, or you may, but we're talking specifically about PPOs in this webinar. So does it mean that you have to participate? Absolutely not. This is your decision. I want you to think of PPO participation as a marketing tool, because that's all it is. When you participate with a particular plan, what you're doing is you are trying to get more patients through the door in exchange for doing services at a lesser fee. So you can think of that as the same as doing a mass mailer, as doing a billboard, as doing a commercial. There's a cost for this type of marketing, and you have to make sure that the benefit that you're getting from that type of marketing is not offset by the costs that you're paying. And so there's some very specific calculations that you need to be doing in order to determine whether it's worth staying in network or not. So next, we're going to talk about the good part of PPO participation. So larger patient base. This is what I was talking about when I say marketing. You're presenting yourself when you're in the book and you're being spoken about at HR departments with large employers and things like that. If someone's Googling what their insurance is and who the providers are in the area, your name is showing up. So that puts your name in front of a larger patient base than you would have otherwise. Those patients are going to be coming into your practice to see you because you are a provider. Now, dentistry can be more affordable for patients. I say can be because most of the time it is, but it depends on what your fees are compared to what the network's fees are. They should be higher, honestly, if you're in or out of network than if you're in network. So dentistry should be more affordable for patients if they do have insurance. That allows them to be more likely to accept treatment. It's going to cost less, it's a little more within their budget. And they're also going to return for recare, especially if they feel like they've got benefits that they're going to lose if they don't use them. If you're given 2 free cleanings a year, and I know they're not really free, but that's how we think of it. If you're given 2 free cleanings a year, you're going to want to utilize those, or they'll just go to waste. So that gets patients in the door, and it allows you to provide them with other care that they may need. So in that way, dental insurance is a great thing. So if you're trying to grow your practice, if you need more butts and seats, I want to make sure that you are participating, that you're doing the right ones that are appropriate for your area, and you're able to bring in the patients that you need. Now we're going to talk about the flip side of that, and that's the bad part of participating with a PPO. You are subject to the PPO restrictions. We call them the handcuffs. So that could be frequencies on how often you can do a certain procedure. That may mean downcoding, having the least expensive alternative treatment, the LEAT. That's kind of a downgrade from where the type of service that you want to offer to the type of service that they actually cover for. And so that's something that you have to put up with. And you do work with a reduced reimbursement. So those fee schedules are never as high as what your full practice fees are, or again, they shouldn't be. So you are saying that you'll do things for a lesser amount in order to see more volume of patients. That's your trade-off, okay? You also may not be getting the most ideal patient for your practice. You ever have those patients come in that just say, I don't want anything except what insurance is going to cover? You never want to hear that. So ideal practices or ideal patients are going to come in. They're going to enroll in care. They're going to know what's best for their health and for their well-being, and they're going to accept care, and they're going to pay their bills and do their things. Sometimes the insurance patients are not those patients. Lastly, if the plan's been around a while, the patient may already have a dental home somewhere else. And it's very hard, once they've had an established relationship with another dentist, to get them to leave that dentist to come to you as a new provider. So, and those that do leave and come to you as a new provider, they themselves may have issues, may have problems with that previous dentist, and they may be just kind of a problem patient, someone that cannot be satisfied. So that's something to consider. Now, the ugly side of PPO participation, you do need to try to negotiate your fees for participating every 18 months or so. That's our recommended time frame. But the last year or 2 or 3, negotiation has become more difficult. Dental plans are being less willing to negotiate fees. So you kind of have to have some leverage in order to be able to effectively get your fees raised. So we'll talk to you a little bit about how to do those things a little on in our webinar this evening. So some patients, not all, but may view dentistry as a commodity. They may think a crown is a crown is a crown. A filling from dentist A is the same as filling from dentist B. So they're just going to go wherever it's cheapest. And we all know that there's a lot of other factors that go into their, the quality of that care, the rapport, the type of materials that are used, the other stuff that make it worthwhile. So those relationships are critical in maintaining patients and having them come to you as opposed to the guy down the street. So when you're having to see more patients, because with a PPO, you got to run lean and mean. You have to see a greater volume of patients in order to make the same amount of profit as you would with a fee-for-service patient. So oftentimes when you're running them through like that, they're going to feel like they're on an assembly line. You're not going to be able to build those relationships, that rapport, get that nice, strong foundation with your patients. And so they're more prone to going somewhere else. So that's a drawback of PPO participation. Lastly, these limitations and restrictions that are put on you by participating in plans. Now, you're agreeing to those things. When you sign your contracts, you're saying, I agree to the stuff that's within the plan document, within this contract. I agree that I'll be paid at this certain level and I'll abide by these certain rules. Uh, but a lot of times dentists don't even know what those rules really are. They'll sign up for a plan because an employer is big in their area without really researching to find out what restrictions they're agreeing to have. Then they get surprised on the back end. So I want to talk to you about where to find those restrictions, where to find those limitations, where are they spelled out? And you got to go to the documents. There's two kinds of documents that I really want you aware of. One is the summary plan description. That's just a little 15-page form that probably comes in a binder. It's handed to every single new patient when they sign up for an insurance plan. They'll go through that, and it just tells them that, hey, you get 2 free cleanings a year or 1 every 6 months or however it's laid out, that you get preventative covered at 100%, and you get basic is at 80 and majors at 50, and it's a very basic breakdown of the benefits that they're getting through that plan. It's not comprehensive. So on the flip side, we have what's called the plan document. Now, the plan document is what the dental consultants at the insurance companies are using. It's the rules that they are going by to see whether claims should be paid or not. So they're looking at this 150 to 200 page long manual. They're looking up the particular procedures that are there, and they're making sure that the criteria that they have set forth or that the employer has set forth are being met with your claim. And if for some reason something in their list does not match what is in your claim, then they're going to deny that claim, or they're going to ask for more information. There's several ways that that can go. Now, wouldn't it be nice to know the rules of the game on the front end as a dental practitioner? Dentists cannot ask for the plan documents directly from the insurance company, but they can ask the patient. The U.S. Department of Labor laws stipulate that these insurance companies have to provide a copy of the plan document to the patients upon request. So if you've got a great relationship with a patient who is in a PPO that you frequently use, I encourage you to go to them and request that they ask their HR for a copy of the plan document. That's going to be your cheat sheet. That's going to be your little Bible that you can go to and make sure that the criteria are being met before you even submit your insurance. So you're going to know Plan A never covers a core buildup. They just won't do that. So you won't be surprised when those things get kicked back. You'll know that Plan B requires this certain documentation. And you'll be able to keep these things in mind when you are doing your submissions, and you'll understand why things are being accepted or denied. I also want to make you aware of 2 different plan types that are within your practice, and you may not even be aware of it. These we found are about 50-50 within a practice. That's based on the latest NADP polling again. And those 2 types are the self-funded plans and the fully insured plans. And we're going to talk a little bit about what the differences are between these 2. First off, the big thing is, where does the money come from? For a self-funded plan, just like it sounds, the employer themselves take a big pot of money and put it into a trust account, and they fully fund it themselves. So this is Walmart, this is Google, Amazon, Bank of America. These are the really large companies that have millions of dollars of excess that they can sit into a trust account, and they pay claims directly out of that. And so They could be doing that directly and providing that to their employees, but they put a layer of administration in the middle there, a middleman. And that middleman is the insurance company. So that insurance company, and this could be your Blue Cross Blue Shield, your United, Concordia, just any of them, what they will do is just administer the plan. So if they are administrators or third-party administrators, TPAs, you'll see that of a plan, they will accept claims from the employees of that company. They will adjudicate those claims, decide whether they should be paid or not. And then on the ones that are paid, they will make a request back to the parent company, who the employer is. Hey, we paid out X number of dollars this month. And so they are reimbursed by the big company plus a cut for themselves, usually 5% or a flat fee or whatever it is per claim. And so they usually go by flat fee. So they don't really have any skin in the game about how much they're paying out or not, honestly. So those types of patients or those types of insurance companies are not really making money based on whether a claim is paid or not. They're getting money, they're getting paid based on how many claims they process. So that's employer funded, self-funded plans. On the flip side, we have the smaller fish. We have the guys that are self-employed. We have people that get private insurance directly from an insurance company, and these are fully insured plans. Now, the money from a fully insured plan, the money that goes out as a claim, is coming directly from the premiums that are paid by the insured. And so they're paying the insurance company, they're paying Delta Dental, they're paying whoever it is, and the Delta Dental is taking that money, putting it in a big pot, and paying out claims as they go. And so it's a completely different thing than the self-funded plan. So that's where the money comes from. Next, we're going to talk about who makes the rules, okay? When you've got a self-funded plan, it's the employer who is defining the benefits that the employee is getting. And I use those words very much on purpose. Dental insurance is really not insurance at all. It's not the same as car insurance or home insurance. It is a defined benefit plan. So what the employer has said is, I would like to give my employees 2 cleanings a year, and we're going to give them money towards a crown, and we'll say once every 5 years they can replace that. And so they make all the rules. They work with an actuary and they design a plan that they feel like can fit. And some employers are more benevolent than others. Some may want to offer a really, really high-end insurance. They may offer some incredible insurance to their higher ups, their VIPs, their administrative staff, and then a lesser plan to some, to their lower end employees. They can define how they want to make the plans. They can make tiers. They can make the rules on coordination of benefits. They set all that up and they decide it themselves. On the flip side here, the fully insured plan is packages that the insurance company itself has designed. So Blue Cross has come out with some packages, and they will sell those directly to small businesses or directly to insured patients, to the public. And so those fully insured plans, all the rules and regulations and stipulations are made by the payer themselves. So they set the rules. And those are defined in the insurance contracts that you sign. Next, what laws are applicable? You may live in a state where you've got fee capping for non-covered services laws, and you hear about turning things into the state insurance commissioner and things like that. Those types of state-specific laws and state-specific governance only apply to fully insured plans. Self-funded plans are not governed by state law at all. They are federally mandated. And so federal law, ERISA, which is the Employment Retirement Insurance Security Act of 1974. That defines the rules and the roadblocks that self-funded plans have to go by, and it's much more broad. It's actually much more lenient than the fully insured plans. State laws tend to be a little more restrictive, and you've got some sway if you're talking to the insurance commissioner about a fully insured plan. But an state insurance commissioner can do nothing about a self-funded plan at all. You're barking up the wrong tree. With those types of plans, you need to be going to the HR, because those benefits are directly from the employer. They were defined by the employer. So if you've got an issue, you need the patient to take it up directly with their human resources department. So completely different sets of laws. I wanted you aware of that. And they can fee cap you even in a state that has non-fee capping laws in place. Next, self-funded plans, because of their freedoms, they're federally governed. They have no time frame that they have to pay the claim. Now, they do have to at least acknowledge the claim is received. Usually that's within 90 days. It's what's a reasonable time. And so within 90 days, they have to say that it was received, but they are paid out of these trust accounts. And if Walmart has a bad month and doesn't fund their trust account that particular month, then there may not be any money to pay the claims. And so until that employer puts money in the trust account, the third-party administrator cannot have any money to pay those claims with. And so we see a lot of backlogs, and this is going on across the United States right now. Some dentists have been waiting on money from some of these plans for months and months and months. They are not required to pay within a certain time frame, and that's an unfortunate reality. Fully insured plans, on the other hand, do fall under state laws. Most states do have laws regarding the time frame in which claims must be paid. Next, self-funded plans. There's no federal law about them doing coordination of benefits. Fully insured plans usually have a state law saying that coordination of benefits is required. How do you know if you've got a self-funded plan or not? If you look on the back of the card, more than likely it's going to say administered by or TPA, third-party administration. That's your keywords. And I also want your insurance coordinator to ask this question: are you a self-funded or are you a fully insured plan? That way they know which laws they're dealing with, what type of plan it is. So now we're moving on to talking about participating. So the biggest factor when you're determining whether you participate with a PPO is knowing your community, is knowing your patient base. Do you need, if you're in this particular town and there's a giant employer that's in your town, do you need to participate with them? Do you know who the teachers union is? Do you know who the major manufacturers are in your area? Those decisions are needed to be made based upon that. If you're in a very affluent area, then you can probably get by a little better going fee for service than you can in an area that's not affluent. If you're in a little more economically challenged area, those patients are probably going to be needing to use dental insurance and dental benefits in order to be able to go to the dentist. If they don't have the excess income or they're unwilling to use it towards dental services, as opposed to if they had insurance and they felt like some of it was covered. So that decision has to be a win-win for all the parties involved. So here's a pro tip. If you're trying to build up your patient base and you're in these PPOs, you can actually go to the employers. You can go to their HR departments and introduce yourself. Let them know you're a nice guy. Let them know that you care. Let them know that you're there to see their patients and you're going to take care of them. If that HR person feels connected to you, they feel like they can trust you, then they're going to send employees your way when those employees are asking who's in network. So you want those people on your side. So that's factories and schools, specialists office, go out and make sure that you're meeting all the specialists, that they know who you are, that they see you, they recognize your face. They're because they get asked sometimes, the people ask the oral surgeons, they ask the endodontists, they ask the periodontists, who would you see? And you want to be top of mind. Also, if you're an aesthetic practice, think about going to cosmetic surgeons, think about going to estheticians, going to hair salons, any places where that type of thing is done. I want you to introduce yourself, leave some business cards, build up a rapport with those people, and you'll be surprised how many referrals that you may get off of that. Oh, also, even if you have a company that does not offer dental insurance, those are also great places to go stop by, especially if you have a dental discount plan, an in-house discount plan. You can go to companies and say, I know you don't offer dental benefits to your employees, so I wanted to let you know that we have this dental discount plan that is a great option, that they can get a lot of their services at a discounted rate, and we'd love to have your employees come see us. All right. Next, we're going to talk about overhead. I want to do some calculations with you. Overhead, or the fixed costs of overhead, often remain the same, whether you're seeing PPO patients or out-of-network patients. So the cost to do business is the same regardless. Now, I'm talking about rent, mortgage, electricity, often salaries. These things all remain the same. So the cost to do business is the same whether the dentist is in network or out of network. Now, there are variable costs, and those are things like supplies and disposables and salaries if you're needing to have extra team members there, if you're seeing more patients. So those things can vary. But overhead, the fixed expenses, I want you to kind of really get a good handle on what that number is. And if you know that number, you can take it and divide that by the hours that you're open. And so this is your hourly overhead rate. It's going to be a flat number that this is the base, the bottom. I have to make at least this every hour on average to survive, just keep my head above water. And then everything else determines the profit. Now, for most dental practices, that fixed cost, that overhead is going to run pretty close to about 60%, honestly, 50 to 60%, it's going to be in there. And so you need to know how to calculate your overhead rate. And you're also going to need to think about, do you have to hire more team to deal with increased numbers of patients? So here's one calculation. If you know your monthly overhead costs are $20,000, you have 144 hours of operation where you're open, then that's $138.80 per hour. That's your overhead rate. So PPO participation does not equal profit loss. It doesn't mean that if you're seeing PPO patients that you're automatically making less money, but more than likely you are making less money per patient. So what you do have to do then is be lean and mean. You've got to see a higher volume of patients in order to make the same amount of money that you would with a fee-for-service patient. So if you're working with a reduced fee, the overhead can increase if you see more patients. You have to think about that as well. And so if you're seeing, let's say, PPO patients and there's a 30% write-off, you've got 60% overhead, you got a 30% write-off, that only leaves you 10% of potential profit there, okay? Versus seeing a fee-for-service patient, you've got your 60% overhead, but then the entire 40% is potential profit. And so because of that, you have to see 4 times the number of patients through the PPO participation that you do to make the same amount of profit as the one fee-for-service patient. So, and then you also have, again, the increased overhead of having more staffing and things like that. So you have to decide whether you need to stay in network or not. And if you do decide to drop a plan, there are people that can help you drop the plan. If you contact your Henry Schein field service reps, they will steer you in the right direction of some people that can kind of hold your hand through the process. Never just go and drop all your plans at once. That is the worst possible thing you can do. You're going to shut down. You'll find that if your verbal skills are really, really, really good, and that you get ahead of the game, because these PPOs are going to send out letters. They're going to send out letters saying Dr. XYZ has decided to not participate. So, dear patient, you are going to be better off going somewhere else where there's better coverage for you. So know those letters go out. So if you've got really good verbal skills, you build that rapport, you want to keep that patient there, you want to explain it to them, you want to get ahead of it, let them know you're going to be dropping before you even do drop, so that they know what's happening. Explain that you're still going to be able to file their insurance. You're still going to be able to, they're going to be able to stay with you. And they may see this letter come from the insurance company. So you need to stay ahead of that. If you do those things well, you normally see about a 40% retention of the patients once you drop a plan. If you're not good at it, if you just drop it and you don't tell them anything about it, we're looking at more like 10% retention. So 90% of the patients of that plan are just going to find somewhere else to go. They're going to listen to that letter that they get in the mail. So let's talk about negotiating your fees a little bit. Negotiating, like I said, it hasn't been as effective over the last few years, but in those circumstances where you've got leverage, it absolutely still can be. I don't want you to look at trying to get a across the board increase for all the codes that you use within an office. Most offices use about 60 procedural codes. A decathlon dentist that does everything might do as many as 120. Some practices that refer a lot just do 60. 90 is about average. But of those 90 codes, there's about the top 10 codes produce 85 to 90% of the income for the practice. So there's about 10 codes there that you use all the time. I want you to run your reports, take a look at that, find those top 10 valuable codes that your office does, and those are the ones I want you to focus on negotiating on. So those are the ones you need to be talking to your insurance people about. And there are businesses, again, there are helpers out there, companies that will help you negotiate. They'll do this for you, with you. They know how to do this well. So again, talk to your Henry Schein field service reps. They'll steer you in the right direction. So know your value and be able to leverage that. If you are the only dentist in an area that is in your plan or that takes that insurance, you've got a lot more sway, you got a lot more power than if you're one of 50 in the area that take that plan. There's almost no chance you're going to get a negotiated rate if you're a drop in the bucket. So you have to know your value to the insurance company and be able to leverage that. And be courteous, be nice. I want you to be aggressive. I want you to really try to get what you feel like you're worth, but be courteous, don't be ugly, and be willing to walk away. It's almost like negotiating the sale of a car or something like that. You're needing to be able to say, it's just not worth it to me. I'm going to walk away. Some of those people that have walked away will find that the plans come back to them and say, well, you know what? What if we did increase it to this or that or the other? And so we'll see that happen. If you're willing to walk, they may be willing to work with you. So also I want to talk about networking. This is a network optimization is another way to get increased fees. If you're in 7 different plans and they all happen to be under one umbrella network, so you're in like Carrington or something like that, if they're all connected, if you have direct contracts with 5 out of the 7, then they're going to look at those 5 plans that you're directly networked with, and they're going to pick the one with the lowest fees. And all 7 of those are going to get paid on that lowest one that you're in direct relationship with. So it may behoove you to figure out which one of these has the best reimbursements and drop all of them but that one. You still get to participate in all 7 plans because they're under that umbrella network, but then you're going to get paid on the fee schedule of that highest plan. That's a lot of work to kind of figure out. That's a lot of research. And so again, some of these companies that are external, they already know. They know all the answers to this. So go talk to your Henry Schein field reps. They'll steer you in the right direction and help you with network optimization. This is still a very valuable and effective way of doing things. Negotiating is less effective right now in the current market. Network optimization is still a great thing to do. Do know if you drop some plans, sometimes there's a gap period where they won't allow you to be in network with some other plans for 6 months or something like that. And that's a price that you pay, and you'll have to be aware of those things. So those companies can help walk you through that type of information. I want to talk about how to collect as close to 100% as you can possibly get. 100% honestly that may be pie in the sky, but you can get 98%. That's absolutely a doable thing. So when you are, I want to make sure first off that you have accurate fee schedules in your software. Update your blue books. Make sure that those EOBs that you're getting back match what is in your computer, because I want you to be able to do estimates based on what real claims are being paid at. So make sure that stuff is updated on the regular. And then when you're doing your when you're doing your financial arrangements, go ahead and build in a little wiggle room. That's fine. Put an extra few percentage points on there because it's patients are happy to get a refund. They're never happy to be asked for another little bit of money. And so it's much better if you collect a little bit extra on the front end. If you say that the insurance is not going to pay quite as much as they actually do, if you build in that wiggle room, then it's going to be a happy surprise instead of a bad surprise when those numbers come back and those claims get paid. So make sure that you're securing financial arrangements before treatment begins. You need to be accepting and collecting the patient portion at the time of service. Make sure that you're getting it up front. Okay. I want to make sure that you are not being the bank. Make flexible arrangements. Have one of these third-party services that you can go out and that will finance for you, but you should not be a lender. Okay. If you are financing within your office, then you can be considered a lending institution by your state, and you're required to meet certain requirements, laws necessary of a bank or lending institution. You can fall under that definition, and that's not a place that you want to be, honestly. So don't be the bank. Let a third party do any type of lending for you. Financial arrangements should be done. You need to make sure that it's all taken care of, but don't be lending money yourself. You can hire dental billing experts to do the collections from the insurance carriers, to file the claims, to follow up, to make sure that things are getting done. That's what eAssist does up there in the top left corner. They're very good at that. So want to make sure that you're getting things as close to the proper estimate or in their favor before treatment is rendered. That way, if you're getting money back, great, you can pass it on to the patient. If not, you don't want to be chasing it on the back end. So the ideal gross collection for a dental practice should be 98%. That would be ideal. On average, national average is 91%. I don't know what it is in your practice, but I would definitely try to find that number out, see what percentage you are collecting. So companies like eAssist, they are trying to, in fact, they're promising that they're going to get you up to that 98% collection ratio. So 70% of dental practices are unknowingly leaving about 9% of their collectible revenue on the table because of certain missed billing steps and patient billing steps. There's things that they're not doing. They're not verifying insurance on the front end. They're not properly getting financial arrangements done. They're not following up in the way that they should. And so there's an incredible amount of money that's just being left out there. So let's look at that kind of number. If an average dental practice has $1.5 million of annual revenue, and we're talking about that 9% that they're leaving on the table, that's $135,000. Over the 30-year lifespan of a dentist in practice, that's over $4 million. That's enough to retire on right there. So you want to make sure that you're trying to get as much of that 9% as absolutely possible. So here are some of those missed billing steps. Not billing UCR on claims. I want to make sure that you are putting your full fee on any claims that are being submitted, not the UCR fees. So if you're able to put your full fee on there, there's basically three reasons for that. One, you're able to keep up to the full fee that you submitted on your insurance claim if there's coordination of benefits. So you've got to accept the fee for the lowest of the agreed upon contracted rates. But then if there is payment that's above and beyond that, you get to keep it up until the fee that you put on that claim form. So you best put your full fee on that claim form. Secondly, insurance companies are looking at those numbers, and if you're putting the UCR on the claim form, well, they're never going to increase your negotiated rate. They're already paying you the rate that they think is your full fee. And thirdly, there's no way to track your write-offs if you are not putting your full fees on those claims. So incorrect information on the insurance claims, incorrect CDT codes. That's where Practice Booster comes in. I want to make sure that you're putting the right codes in the proper documentation, the correct attachments, all that stuff is going on there. Read the book, it'll tell you what to do. So missing or incorrect information on the claim, and just being too busy to follow up. It's very difficult sometimes to run account aging reports and going and chasing down money and looking for collections. But all this money is just out there and sitting there. And if you're not working it, it's not just going to come to you. So pull those insurance patient aging reports regularly, review anything that's over 30 days old, and work on that outstanding collections. You need that revenue back in your practices. So if you contact your Henry Schein rep, they're going to help you figure out where to go and who can help you to get that 9% of pure profit back to your practice. This is 9% that's after your overhead. This is pure money that's going in your pocket. So definitely worth talking to about getting a specialist to help you out with this particular endeavor. So some closing thoughts. I want you to do what's best for your patients. And that's trying to get every dollar that you can out of their dental benefits. I want you to do what's best for your practice, which is making sure that your fees are appropriate, making sure that you've got those financial arrangements in place and that you're getting to collect what you need to collect. Do what's best for your team. Making sure that you have proper income coming in is going to make sure that you've got salaries that are appropriate and good for your area. You want to make sure that they are getting taken care of because they are the lifeblood of your practice. They are the heartbeat. So do what's best for you and for your associates, because if the doctor's not making it, then the whole practice isn't making it. You need to make sure that you are getting taken care of. So thank you for joining us tonight. That's delivering a peace of mind. That's what Henry Schein wants to do. That's what eAssist wants to do. We want to make sure that you are getting everything that you deserve, that you're maximizing your benefits, that you're being as profitable as possible while taking the very best care of your patients that you possibly can. Reach out to Henry Schein Business Solutions team. Here's their email and their phone number. They can talk with you about also these third-party associated companies that can help you with everything that you're doing within your practice on the business side, outsourcing some of these services to someone who really knows what they're doing. So once again, visit henryscheindental.com webinars to follow up with more great information like what you've heard tonight. I hope you've certainly gotten something out of it, and I look forward to meeting with you again next time. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you, Dr. Grobmyer, for a wonderful presentation this evening, and thank you all for joining us tonight. We did record tonight's webinar and will email the recording out sometime in the next week. We would appreciate your feedback via our survey that will pop up on your screen shortly. Thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you on future webinars.